So I think right now, if we were to look at the Malaysian economy, right, during the past couple of years, we could see that number one, post the MCO, things have been getting relatively more expensive, right? And a lot of people we can see are just talking about the inflation, right? Example of this, right? If we were to look at the prices of roti canai, and I still remember maybe 10 years ago, talking to a couple of my students, some retirees, right? And I asked them, I said, 10 years ago, was it possible to get roti canai for below 1 ringgit? A lot of them say yes. And I asked them today whether it's possible. And a lot of them say no, it's between 150 and above, right? Secondly, even the rice. Before this, we can actually get rice, local rice, for about 26 ringgit for a 10 kg local rice. But today, quite recently, I went up to Kedah also. I wanted to find local rice. I could not find any of that. Most of our rice right now are all imported. And we cannot find any rice that costs 26 ringgit per 10 kgs lah. Right now, it's already about 30-ish to 40-ish, right? So that in itself, we could see that there is an increase in, I guess, food items, right? And when food items increase, what will happen is that things for us are going to get very expensive. And when things are getting very expensive, especially for our needs, right? As human beings, we need to makan, right? So, like it or not, we still have to consume these things, right? So that's the first thing. Secondly, if we were to look since a couple of years ago, we can see that the OPR has been steadily increasing, right? And just to remind all of us, OPR is a reference rates bank use, right? So whenever they want to give a loan, they will refer to the OPR, and they will put like a small little percentage for them to make a profit on, right? So maybe it's OPR plus 1%, right? So that will be the cost of your loan, or OPR plus maybe 1.5. That will be maybe the what you will get if you deposit money with the bank. So right now, when we see that if the Central Bank of Malaysia or Bank Negara Malaysia increases OPR, what will tend to happen is that the prices of our loans will get more and more expensive. So, like it or not, the start of every month, when we open our bills, we can see things like our housing loan and our car loans, right, is getting more and more expensive, right? So that will definitely eat up into our disposable income. So right now we can see inflation is getting expensive, and also the OPR is getting more and more higher, right? So I think the third thing also is our salary. Our salary is just not catching up with the inflation, right? And I just want to tell you guys, back when I first started working in the early 2000s, right? My salary back then was about 1,005 lah, basically, right? And a lot of my friends also were earning that much, right? That being said, today, even the minimum wage is 1,005. So when I first started working in the early 2000s until right now, companies are still paying 1,005, right? So which is, we can see that salaries are just not catching up with the inflation, right? So I guess what is the biggest solution for all of this, right? When things are getting more expensive, right? And we are trying to figure out ways to increase our income. I think one of the best ways of actually increasing income, and since we are a financial channel, is definitely to invest, right? And I think back in the day, right, during our grandparents' time or during our parents' time, I think one of the most popular investments are buying properties, right? I still remembered my grandma, back then she used to have a budgeting system where she used to put the money in an envelope, right? She used to put that money in an envelope, and she would used to hide it in between all the clothes, right? And that budgeting system actually was very efficient. It allowed her to save a fair bit, and she managed to buy her own house, on her own, which, I learned a lot of budgeting also from grandmother and also my dad, right? So that being said, right, that's how the older generation used to buy assets, right? And the thought behind buying an asset is that if they buy one house, eventually what will happen is that they will get rental income from that particular asset, right? And this will help them earn another income stream, right? But that being said, the cons of buying, I guess, a property is that it is very, very expensive, right? Today, if you want to buy a property, especially in Klang Valley, right? Maybe 400,000, 500,000. We'll be lucky to even get a property like that, right? But that being said, our salary is just not catching up to the inflation, right? So with our salaries, being relatively low, and with prices of property being relatively expensive, right? It seems a bit impossible to actually buy property, right? So this is why I'm actually coming out with this particular video on the benefits of investing in REITs, right? REITs is another form of investing in property. Okay, so if you can imagine this with me, let me just put it to my PC over here. So you can see, right? This is an example whereby you notice that there are 3 dots on the top, right? So assuming right now, from the very basic, if you want to buy a property somewhere in KL, but you just don't have enough money, so this is where you ask maybe mom and dad to help you out, right? So the blue dots on top is yourself, right? And then this is where you ask mom and dad to help you out buying the property, right? So this is where you guys kumpul do it. You guys put money in this particular tabung. This orange circle signifies a small little tabung. And once you have enough money in that particular tabung, this is where you can buy your asset, right? So this is one form of buying an asset. But assuming if you want to buy a REIT, right? A REIT is basically this yellow box is actually basically like a small little tabung also, right? And this is a trust, right? And this is where you have multiple people, putting money in that particular trust, right? Say person A, person B, person C, person D, right? And if you have enough people putting money in that particular trust, what will happen is that this trust can actually buy things like property. They can buy offices. They can also buy malls, right? And this is an amazing opportunity for Malaysians out there, right? Whereby you can actually kumpul do it and buy a particular mall or a particular office space. Yo, Sunny, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Yes, I'm talking about REITs lah. No lah, not marketing REITs lah. So I guess because some people have been talking about REITs, right? So right now I know REITs are getting more and more popular. So I'm just gonna cover this lah. Hey, nice of you to join, man. Stay on. Hey, any questions? Just ask lah. So basically, these are 3 REITs lah, which are very popular in Malaysia lah, right? This is the KLCC REIT, right? And the benefit of this is like it's relatively cheap lah. It's 7 ringgit 50 cents, right? Per share. And if you want to buy one lot, it's about 750 ringgit lah. And compared to a property, right, it's much cheaper, right? But and the good thing about this is that you get dividends of about 5%. So if you put 1,000 ringgit, you get 5% from that 1,000 ringgit, right? So this is where you get your dividends every year, right? So this is example number 1. Aside from that, there is another REIT called the IGB REIT. This is the Mid Valley Mall, the Mega Mall. And if you want to be an owner for the Mega Mall, it's only 1 ringgit and 75 cents multiplied by 100 is about 175 ringgit. And your dividends is about 6%, right? And finally, there's this Al Akra, right? So Al Akra is about 1 ringgit 28 cents, right? Multiplied by 100, this is 128 ringgit. And your dividend yields is about 6%, right? So over here, these are a couple of example of REITs. So right now, let me just put it up on the stand again. Okay, so right now, right, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of investing in REITs. And then, you guys decide lah whether you guys want to buy REITs lah. The first benefit of buying a REITs, and I notice a lot of retirees doing this, right, is that if you buy maybe 4 or 5 REITs and you buy it during staggered times, assuming if REIT A pays dividends at January, REIT B pays dividends at February, REIT C pays dividend at March, so on and so forth, right? If you maybe buy a couple of REITs at different times where they pay dividends, right? You can actually time your dividends in a way that every month you will make money, right? That in itself is a golden rule, guys, right? So I've seen retirees actually do this, and they have actually retired just by this particular strategy. Number 2, right? The benefit of a REIT, right, is that this will give you diversification. Right now, if you notice stocks, right, I'm going to mention a couple of tech stocks, right? Right now, you can see tech stocks just flying up and flying up and flying up. And the scary thing is, whatever that flies up may also, move downwards, and the swings are quite volatile, basically, right? Aside from that, if you are a crypto investor also, you will definitely know that the swings are very, very volatile for these particular asset classes. So one of the best ways, right, to ensure that you capture your gains or make sure that you you exit that particular volatile assets to give you less volatility, definitely look at REITs. All tech stops. Yeah, I actually bought Nvidia. I made a fair bit of money, and it keeps on going up, and this is a stock that keeps on giving, man. So I should also thank you some of the ideas that you gave me, Sunny. So okay, that's the second benefit. The third benefit, right, is that it's very liquid, right? So if you buy REITs, REITs is more liquid than assets than your property, right? Right now I'm an owner for maybe one property, right? And for me to sell that particular property at this point in time, with the economy being like this, is very difficult. Very, very difficult. Right now, it's a buyer's market where I need to actually discount my property below the market value in order for me to sell that particular property. Yeah, I see that statement gold. I'll talk about gold later. And the last benefit of a REIT is that you don't have to manage your asset, right? So me being a property owner, I'll tell you some horror stories, Number one, I actually had some tenants that every time when they leave, right, they will steal the fans, and that happened to me twice, where the tenants just stole the fan, right? And it was just beyond me. Why would people steal fans? That's the first thing, right? Second thing is that vandalism, right? If you buy a property, sometimes they will chonteng the rumah lah. One of my tenants, right, was a kindergarten. They literally drew like cartoon characters, and it was scary. I had to, like, when I got in the house, because they are not very good artists, so these cartoon characters look scary lah. So I needed to repaint the whole house. I needed to put the fans and whatnot, right? In Malaysia, it's very common lah. In Malaysia, I guess my tenants are like that lah, right? Not all tenants right? So these are the benefits of buying in REITs, right? Where you have professional property managers to manage your property. The cons of buying a REIT is this lah. Number one is the management fee, right? You have to pay a professional manager to manage your asset, and sometimes it'll get expensive. Number two, if you notice, most REITs, you will notice the chart, right? That their stock price is either flat or just trending downwards bit by bit, right? So even though you get your monthly dividend, imagine that whatever you invested, right, it will slowly eventually just go down in price. So that means your investment will just decay in terms of value, And you don't want to make money from dividends, but you lose money from capital losses, basically, right? The cons, so compared to a real property, right? If you buy a real property, in time, that property will go up, right? It is all about demand and supply, right? But if you buy a real house, right? You will not only get your rental, but you also get the capital appreciation. And mind you, real property, or you buy a house, right? Your rental will be adjusted based on inflation, right? Always remember that. And the final thing, right? A lot of people have been telling me they bought houses, say in certain areas like Bangsa Baru 30 years ago, it was below 100k, right? Maybe about, okay, let's put it at 100k, right? That being said, today properties over there is already 1.5 million. Let that point sink in, right? So yeah, so there's pros and cons to whether whether it's worth buying REITs, right? I know it's a very popular asset class, but I think that's one of the reasons why I did this particular video, just to share this with all you guys. I want you guys to be financially savvy, and I want you to make good decisions during this economic, I guess, situation right? Where, I want you guys to make an informed decision wherever you guys allocates your funds to . So I'm going to answer this particular question from my very friend Sunny, whether one should buy gold and why gold has been moving like that . Basically, gold is an asset where fund managers will always look at every time when there is a crisis, every time when there's inflation, every time when there is a geopolitical risk. People will always shift their focus towards gold. And if you look at gold, it has rose by 13%. Yes. One of the reasons why it rallied even before the war was a lot of fund managers actually knew about this particular situation. So what fund managers will tend to do is they will take position before the thing happens, right? So you want to put your bet before certain things happens, right? So even before the the stock market has been very volatile, right? So yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I think in Malaysia we can see that Malaysia has been, has been moving sideways, right? But if you have been following me for a couple of lives, right, you would have seen this particular stock, UEM Sunrise and also Iskandar Waterfront, right? UEM Sunrise, in 1 year, it rose by 4x. You would have 4x your money. And I saw UEM Sunrise. Remember this, UEM Sunrise, right? Quite recently, I saw that within 1 month, 1.5 months, that particular stock actually rose by about 17%, right? Again, all in all assets make money all sorts of asset classes makes money but you need to be knowledgeable you need to know why you're buying that particular asset class, and you need to know why you need to know what you want to gain from that particular asset, right? So if ever I want to get recurring income, right, I would, for me personally, I will not look at REITs, rather I will look at like real assets, like real houses given that sometimes, you have tenants which maybe steal your fans, or maybe tenants which actually chonteng your rumah, right? That being said, right, always remember the example I gave you, right? Certain property prices in Bangsa or PJ, right? 30 years ago, it was about 100k. Right now, it's about 1.5 million. So, that in itself, right? It shows that real estate actually, you can make a bit of money. That being said, if you put your money in REITs, right, you will see REITs, the price will just go sideways, or the price will just go ever slightly downwards, right? So, like I said, I know REITs are very popular. I know people are pushing REITs to you guys, but I hope with this small little episode, you guys leveled up a little bit, right? And you guys would maybe have a bit of knowledge before investing in that particular asset class. All right, guys. With that, hey, thanks, Sunny. Thanks for keeping me company, and I will continue doing lives, You will see me doing. Please look at the community tabs, And whenever I'm going to do a live, I'll just inform you guys there. All right. With that, Selamat Raya, right? I'm going to have maybe 1 or 2 episodes before Hari Raya, right? And I hope to see you guys there. And Sunny, if I see you before that, I want to wish you Selamat Raya, right? Yeah. If I see you before that, I just want to wish you Selamat Raya if I don't get to see you, right? Otherwise, yes, thank you so much, and thank you for joining me in this journey, man. I really appreciate it. Take care. Bye.